When you stop to think about it, there's a lot of on-the-fly decision-making that occurs while climbing. Undoubtedly, you consider the relationship of gaining altitude versus making forward progress. When obstacles are present, you constantly analyze whether your climb will allow adequate clearance. And then there's that balance you must consider between airspeed and engine temperature. All of these decisions are reciprocal. Changing one will impact another. So let's take a closer look at how these decisions affect engine temperature and performance during the climb. Your Cirrus is very efficient at cooling its engine. It deploys a multi-pronged approach for cooling, which you, as the pilot, can dynamically adjust while in the cockpit. Pressure-cooled engines are cooled by ambient airflow, forced under pressure into the cooling air intakes. Ground cooling is provided by propeller wash, and whatever small amount of ram airflow is provided by ambient air. In flight, cooling air is provided primarily by the ram airflow supplied by your forward velocity. With the help of baffles and seals, the cooling air fills the entire engine cowl to effectively cool all the way around the engine before escaping out the bottom of the cowl. Because your Cirrus relies primarily on airflow to cool the engine, the volume of airflow, as well as environmental factors such as the temperature and density of airflow, has a cumulative effect on the engine's cooling efficiency. The slower your forward speed, the less volume of air that is available to cool your engine. Warmer air is less effective at cooling for two reasons. One, because of the smaller temperature differential, it's less effective at removing heat. And two, because warm air is less dense, there's actually less mass to provide cooling. This is also true at high altitudes. As you climb, the air becomes less dense and, as a result, less effective at cooling. Fuel also helps cool your engine, albeit in an indirect sort of way. Combustion pressures and temperatures peak just slightly rich of peak EGT, which is where you have that optimum 14.7 to 1 air to fuel ratio. Any departure from this peak in combustion pressure and temperature will cause a little bit of a reduction in combustion pressure and temperature, and as a result, engine temperature. Essentially, by using the mixture to change the fuel to air ratio, you're generating a little less power, so less heat during that power stroke. Many factors work together to cool your engine, and that's why it's so important for you to have an idea of the normal operating temperature for your Cirrus, as any unexplained change in these temperatures could indicate anything from damaged baffles or seals to ignition system anomalies or even some sort of inconsistency with the fuel system. In flight, it really comes down to controlling airflow and fuel flow and following standard operating procedures. By varying the amount of cooling airflow with airspeed and fuel flow with mixture, you can affect the trend of your engine temperature during the climb to ensure it remains within its normal operating range. Should the engine temperature not respond as expected to your planned, deliberate inputs, take your Cirrus to an authorized service center for a more detailed assessment, as most likely something mechanical and out of your immediate control is perhaps the issue. When thinking about engine temperature, especially in the climb, you'll want to focus primarily on cylinder head temperature, or CHT, as your primary metric. Exhaust gas temperature, or EGT, doesn't really tell you how hot your engine is, but it does give you an idea about the direction your engine temperature is headed, warmer or cooler. Anticipating the trend of your CHTs and taking appropriate action before temperatures get out of hand is very crucial. There's plenty of theories surrounding the subject of cylinder head temperature management, and for good reason. The subject is important and often misunderstood. What's important to remember is that your engine underwent rigorous testing during the certification process to establish limitations that provide both strong performance and great reliability. Operating with an unnecessary cushion around these limitations reduces the utility and performance of your Cirrus, and there's really no official data that indicates that operating with any sort of buffer will actually increase engine reliability and longevity. We recommend you follow the limitations established by the engine manufacturer, published in the POH, to enjoy the full performance and utility of your Cirrus. Like any other phase of flight, you should expect CHTs to to remain in the green or within the normal range. Though still in the green, CHTs trending upwards close to the caution range or yellow band require your attention. Not in the sense that you're causing damage to your engine necessarily, but in the sense that if you don't reverse the warming trend of your engine, it may be difficult to reverse it later when it really could cause damage. To keep the CHTs within the normal operating range, you must anticipate situations that could cause CHTs to rise and understand what actions you can take to keep the temperature under control. If you recognize your CHTs trending away from where you'd like them, use EGT as a reference for adjustment. If the CHTs are increasing, adjust mixture to lower the EGTs. This, in turn, will stop or reverse CHT trends. Keep in mind, if you're operating rich of peak, you need to enrich in the mixture to lower EGTs. On the other hand, when you're operating lean of peak, you actually need to lean the mixture further to lower your EGTs. So let's say you're departing the Centennial Airport in Denver, Colorado on a midsummer flight to Casper, Wyoming. The temperature is 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. You're expecting to depart from runway 17 left, then using the Yellowstone 1 departure to join Victor 85 at the Laramie VOR. This departure requires a climb gradient of 255 feet per nautical mile up to 8,000 feet, and you've selected a final cruise altitude of 12,000 feet. The first step in managing engine temperature and CHTs during climb is to recognize the factors that tell you there's a potential for high engine temperatures. Departing Denver, Colorado, there's a couple things to take note of. First off, it's warm out. Secondly, you're departing from a high-density altitude airport, so the air available to cool the engine is less effective because it's less dense. And finally, you'll need to climb at VY all the way up to 12,000 feet to meet the initial climb gradient and en route minimum safe altitudes. This means you can't simply increase the volume of airflow by increasing airspeed, as you might under normal circumstances, because it's essential that you gain altitude as quickly as possible by remaining at VY throughout the climb. Short of departing when the temperature is cooler, there isn't really much you can do to avoid these engine cooling challenges, but you can set yourself up for success by planning your climb with engine temperatures in mind. First, limit ground time as much as possible. Second, ensure the mixture and boost pump are properly set for takeoff, and take care during that takeoff roll that you confirm normal values of manifold pressure and fuel flow. And don't underestimate the importance of these items, as starting your climb off on the right foot becomes exponentially more important when faced with engine cooling challenges. In all SR models, follow the appropriate takeoff and climb profile using VX or VY to your CAPS altitude, and then, in this case, continue your climb at VY until a safe altitude is reached so you can safely transition to your en route cruise climb for better cooling airflow and better visibility. Remember, when climbing rich of peak EGT, enriching the mixture further and using the boost pump will provide additional cooling. If managing engine temperature with airspeed and fuel flow is still not enough, level off at an intermediate altitude so you can accelerate to cruise and allow the engine to cool off before continuing to climb to your desired cruise altitude. If you're flying a turbocharged SR-22, you've probably noticed the procedure for a lean of peak climb. The best use scenario for this procedure is following an extended level off at an intermediate altitude where you've already established cruise power and leaning. When cleared to a higher altitude, you may choose to use this procedure to avoid having to adjust the mixture back for a rich of peak climb. Lean of peak climbs are acceptable, provided CHTs remain within the normal operating range, which may not be possible in hot weather. Remember that when using the lean of peak climb procedure, increasing the mixture will actually increase engine temperature. So if you find that your engine is getting warmer than you'd like, the mixture must be leaned, or if leaning further won't allow adequate climb performance, then you need to adjust to a rich of peak climb. Efficiency and reduced fuel consumption are another attraction of using the lean of peak technique. However, there is no real noticeable advantage to using the lean of peak technique for your entire climb. The potential fuel savings during the climb is offset by the increased time to climb and, as a result, reduced time in cruise flight. But if you've leaned following an extended intermediate level off, then the lean of peak climb technique might do well in reducing your workload for the brief climb that remains. If you fly a normally aspirated Cirrus, it can be tempting to keep your cruise leaning when making an altitude change after establishing cruise. But you'll need to re-lean for the new cruise altitude anyways, so for performance and proper engine cooling, it's recommended to make all climbs per the power settings prescribed in your airplane's climb checklist. Then re-lean once you level off at your new cruise altitude. Controlling engine temperature and cylinder head temperature during climb has a lot to do with anticipating situations that can cause high engine temperatures. Recognize these situations early to prevent the engine from getting too hot, from getting away from you. It's much easier to prevent the engine from getting hot in the first place than it is to try to cool it down once it's already heated up. So keep an eye on the trend of your engine temperatures, especially CHT, and use airspeed and fuel flow to keep your engine temperatures in check throughout your entire climb.